today I am making homemade peanut butter, and if you have never tried making homemade peanut butter, stay tuned. It is super easy. You only need one ingredient, 2 or 3 ingredients to make it really great. So I'm gonna get started. First thing you want to have is obviously peanuts. Now you can use any kind of peanuts you want. You can shell them, you can buy them already roasted. Even if you buy them already roasted, I would really recommend that you still pop them in the oven. I roasted these for about 15 to 20 minutes at 375, and what you're really looking for is for them to get real dark, and then they're going to get a little bit oily, and that's exactly what you want. You want to pull those oils out of there. Okay, so these are just straight roasted peanuts, and I'm going to pop them into my food processor. If you don't have a food processor, you could try using a blender, but you have to have something like that. You cannot do this by hand, okay? So homemade peanut butter, peanuts, food processor. So far, my hands are clean, everybody. Hands are clean. Super clean. 20-second clean. So I'm gonna pop them in here. The beautiful thing about making your own peanut butter is, number one, you can control the ingredients. So you can use the same process with almonds or cashews or anything like that. You can sweeten it with honey, you can sweeten it with sugar. You could even add cocoa and create your own version of like a Nutella. It doesn't matter. The other thing is it's really inexpensive because most of the time peanuts you can buy in bulk for really, really cheap. And so it is actually much cheaper to buy peanuts and make your own peanut butter than it is to buy even the cheap peanut butter, which, by the way, did you know that cheap peanut butter almost always has tons of sugar in it? I don't know how many of you knew that. Okay, so here's the trick. We're gonna use peanuts, and then we're gonna use a little bit of oil. And the oil is gonna help keep the peanut butter smooth and creamy. And if you wanted to do chunky peanut butter, you would just save some of these peanuts out to add in at the very end to keep it chunky. I'm going with the creamy situation, but do what you wanna do, what makes you happy. I'm also using olive oil simply because right about now, I am out of peanut oil, I'm out of sesame oil, all that stuff. Normally, I'd probably use a little bit of peanut oil, but you gotta use what you got right now, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna run this. And I'm gonna make sure to add a little bit of oil before I go too far along. I'm gonna go with just about a teaspoon-ish, not too much. And run it again. And what you're just looking for is for it to come together and get creamy. Now, from here, we can go ahead, we can add salt, we could add cinnamon, we could add any of the things that we want to have. These peanuts are already salted peanuts, so I'm not going to add much more in the way of salt. But if yours are not salted, I would recommend you give it a little bit of dose of salt. So I'm just going to run this probably a couple minutes. It's going to take about 5 minutes for it to really come together nice and creamy. You can see how it's starting to bunch up a little bit. I'm gonna add a little bit more oil. It does take a little bit of oil. I mean, you guys have seen natural peanut butter. You see how that oil separates out. Give this a little bit of a scrape just to make sure. I have an old food processor. I really need to get a new one. But I want to feel the texture of this. And once again, it's still a little crumbly. It feels a little bit like peanut butter cookie dough. And obviously that's not what I want. So I'm just going to add a little bit more olive oil. Usually for 2 cups, you're going to end up with about 2 tablespoons of oil. Much better. Okay, so I want to show you guys, this is about perfect consistency. It's going to just take a little bit more blending, but you can kind of see here, you can see that it's now getting to be that kind of gritty. And this is about where if you wanted to, you could totally stop. It would be kind of crunchy, but I'm going to go all the way with the creamy. I'm going to add a little bit more oil. and blend the crap out of it. I'm also going to add a little bit of honey to it because I want to sweeten it just a bit. And I don't like to use sugar in my peanut butter, so I'm going to add a little honey. And blend it up one more time. You get Texas Roadhouse peanuts when you eat there. You take them home, let the kids shell them and make peanut butter. That's a great idea. Actually, this is a great kids activity. Get already shelled peanuts. Get them involved in shelling the peanuts before you make the peanut butter. All right, so here's about where I'm going to stop. I might run a little bit more, but from right here, this is good. Put it into a mason jar or into any sort of a jar container that you can close up real nice and tight. You do not have to put this in the refrigerator. It will last on your counter for about a week. If you do want to keep it in the refrigerator, it will last for 2 to 3 weeks. But reminder that you will have to stir it because those oils will separate out. And cold peanut butter is much harder to stir than warmer peanut butter is. So I tend to make small batches like this so that we can use it all and doesn't have to go in the fridge. But go ahead, try making 4 cups. This is 2 cups of peanut butter. Try making 4 cups, 6 cups, 8 cups of peanut butter, giant batches of it, put it in the fridge, take out a little bit at a time, and use a little bit at a time. All right, that's as simple as it is. And from here, you guys go ahead and add cocoa if you want to make your own homemade Nutella, or whatever seasonings you want in there. But that is homemade peanut butter. Get yourself some inexpensive peanuts, and you are on your way to having real, honest to goodness peanut butter without having to buy it with all the other stuff in it. All right, you guys, have a great, happy, and wonderful day. I will see you next time.